Hello, hello, hello. How we doing? So, we have covered several different things on how to roll your own cigar. We're going to cover today is, we've covered rolling your own, bunching. What we're going to cover is, today we're going to case, binder, and wrapper. I'm going to show you the method I use here on the small scale. Okay. What we got here is some Nicaraguan binder. Okay. But this binder is so clean. Look at that. Got some beautiful, beautiful wrapper as well. This is a nice Nicaraguan binder, but you can use it as a wrapper as well. Pretty much all of this is wrapper quality. Most of it in this hand. But, all right. You're not. You don't roll every day, okay? So, let's say you don't roll every day, but you want to have some ready for the next day, or you want to bunch tonight, or you want to bunch tomorrow, or however you want to do it. You got to find a method to keep you happy, right? Keep your flow, keep you ready to go. Okay. I always have binder prepped. Like I said, I'm always rolling. This is just a partial of this. This was a 5-pound batch that I ordered, but I usually order in about 10 to 15, 20-pound batches. So put that away. So this is binder, and the way I'm going to do it is, this is a hand if you're not familiar with it, which you should know. Cut this rope off. This is what keeps your hand together. So okay, first off, step number 1, cut the string off the hands. Okay. Step number 2, do it however you want, but you want to get rid of this bottom piece. Okay, the bottom of the stem. A lot of people throw these away. There's actually, you can, if you're a homesteader or you grow your own vegetables or stuff like that, and you're into composting, you can take these and throw them in your compost pile. Give them back to the earth. Reuse them. Full circle. All right? But the actual stems themselves, what the old world Cubans do is they take them and they steep them in water for, I think it's like 15 days. I don't know exactly. I just know they make it. I don't know how they make it. But they steep these in water for a certain amount of time. And then they use it as an insecticide to spray on their vegetable plants and stuff like that to keep insects away. Right? But yeah, I compost them. I put them in a bucket, and then I put them in my compost pile and let them do what they're gonna do, and give them back to the earth and let them produce, add nutrients for your vegetables. vitamins, minerals, whatever. Put that in my bucket. You take that, sort out your needs. And you just be careful because they are fragile. So you don't want to try to pull them out and work them and then end up ripping them. It's just going to tick you off. So basically what we're doing here is just sorting them out, loosening them up. Okay. Alright, this is some gorgeous stuff for wrapper. Like you can use those for Coronas. Good for Toros and Robustos. Panatelas, you can use them for panatelas, lanceros. More for Corona size. You can sort these by size if you want to. Okay, like that. I won't put that in there. I'll just save it for a filler, or make me a cheroot out of it or whatever. I'll take these, sort them out. This is basically meant for the home roller. The guy that wants to roll his own cigars doesn't want to spend all that money. So, there are different methods for large batches, which I don't find necessary really to show you. But if you do want to know that method, hit me up in the comments and I can give you my email or whatever, and we can exchange emails and go into further detail into larger batches of casing. Now you can use unscented clear plastic bags. Amazon, you can get these 3-gallon Ziplocs. I reuse them a lot, so normally I'll put a tape on here, label it with whatever's in here, and label it binder, wrapper, whatever, filler, what type of wrapper, what type of binder. But we're gonna go with this today. Okay. Brand new bag. Unscented. You go with the cheapest ones possible, since they're not going to be in here for a long period of time. Once you're done with them, you get them prepped to put them in wherever you're going to put them. We'll get that ready. So you got your pollock leaf. Get that out of here. And all you're going to do is one good spritz. And you're going to go through the whole pile. Until you're done. See, like right here, we're starting to pile up on moisture. And sometimes if you get too much, then just skip a couple of these. Okay. This would make a nice little Nicaraguan puro too. Use this as filler. Like these smaller ones you can use for a filler. That'd be great. And you be the judge of how much you need. Like see, like this one's a lot thinner than this one. You can hear that. Spread those out a little bit. Like those. Okay, now I got them sprayed. All right. Now what I'm gonna do is on this side over here, give it a little extra, because that's the where you open up the main vein, mid rib, whatever you want to call it. But that's what's gonna help absorb or distribute some moisture through the vein here, the nerve, the mid rib, whatever you want to call it, stem, mid stem. Everybody's got their own words for it, but you can see it's starting to loosen up a little bit. And see all that little extra water on the, sop up as much of it as you can with your leaves, just like that, a little bit. Okay, some will tell you that's too wet. Okay, but these have been dry for a while. These have been sitting there for almost a year. So I'll take my bag, put these in my bag. And we're just gonna get the air out of it. Do a little twist. Voila. And I'm gonna check on it first thing in the morning or tomorrow afternoon. See how well it did. And if it's too moist, then we just let it air out a little bit. But normally that's going to get you what you want to do your binder. That's your binder. Then we move on to our wrapper. The wrapper I do a little bit different. Okay, I leave it on the hand because simple reason is because it's a lot thinner. When you open this up, you run the risk of ripping it. So instead of doing that, this is very fragile. Instead of doing that, what I'll do is I'll pick it up like this, sort them out as much as I can. Drop them down. Just I wet the crap out of it. Not soaking wet, just make sure I get every bit of it. Okay. All right. And then I'll leave a string on the hand, and I'll take and I'll spray that in there. Okay. Let that suck in there. And what you're going to do after that is after it sits let it sit for a few minutes or whatever. Okay, it's going to start sucking it up. So over here, I need a little bit more right there. See, it's up in here. You see where it's dry up in here? That's another reason why you spray this in, so it just soaks in there. And eventually it's going to soak that up in there to the roots in there. But if not, a little spritz. Okay, then once it's done, you're going to shake it, get all the loose water off of it. It may take a little bit. Get it out of the screen for a minute. Just swing it around. Okay, do that. And we'll take it and I'll put it in my big bag. These are for, like I said, this is all for the guy that's going to do this at home for himself. Okay. I have other methods, like I said, for doing bulk. This wrapper, put that off to the side. Okay, that's method number 1 on the wrapper. Binder, pretty much is the way you're going to do it. That's the way I do my binder, unless I'm doing a large batch. So, another method I use is you'll take your container. So you have a container. Okay, this one I keep leafing. All right, so you have an extra container, and I have one in the garage, in a larger version. Okay, it's bigger than a 72-gallon tub. But what I did is I hot glued about, like in this you would do like halfways up, but in the big one I did like a third of the way up. I hot glued a piece of wood all the way around, leaving enough space at the bottom to pour water. And then you can take a wire rack or several wire racks or cedar racks or whatever. Wire rack is going to be better. And just place that on top of that wood, on top of there, and you'll have your distilled water at the bottom. And then you take your leaf and you just spread it out on top of that rack. Put your lid on it. Let's say this is, you have a rack on there. You put a leaf in there. Put your lid on it. Set it off to the side, and then just check it every now and then until it's to the point that you want it to be. Okay. You can actually also use this method to infuse your cigars or infuse your wrapper leaf with whiskey, rum, whatever, before you actually use it. Normally you would infuse your cigars as a whole, but if you just want just to get a note of it, not too much flavor of it, you don't want it to overpower, you don't want it to be just, that's what everybody focuses on, is a certain flavor, like a cognac flavor, barrel aged whiskey flavor. You can achieve something like that by throwing oak chunks at the bottom, or soaking some oak staves or whatever, throw them at the bottom with some whiskey, and then you can infuse them that way. Cheap, easy, for those of you that can't get a barrel, a wine barrel or a whiskey barrel. They do sell little oak chunks that you can buy. Just throw them in your toaster oven for a little bit, and you'll put it on roast, and then you'll pretty much just char it up a little bit, take it out, clean it off, soak it in your bourbon, whiskey, whatever, for a couple of days. Then you take it, then you put it at the bottom of this, put your leaf, your rack, and then you put your leaves in, and then there you go, you infuse it. Okay, all right. And then for the person that only does about 10 cigars a week, doesn't really need to have that much prepped or whatever. Let's say you're only going to do a few leaves at a time. So what we do is we'll take, let's say you're going to wrap 10 cigars. Okay, you'll get 10 leaves. Okay, you get 2 wrappers per leaf. But what you want to do is, if there's any mistakes in the process of wrapping, you rip it or whatever, so on and so forth, you'll have some ready to go. Okay, so let's say we want to wrap 10 cigars. I'm going to take 10 leaves. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 10. Okay, put these back. And then what you're going to do is same process. Give them a little spritz. Okay. More. Put some water on them. Okay. Let them sit for a sec. Okay. And what I got here is, you can use an old glass pickle jar. This one, actually, yeah, it's a jar that I picked up at Walmart in the craft section for 10 bucks. And you take and get some of those fishbowl marbles, and you fill up about a third of the deal. Okay. Then you're going to take some distilled water and pour some distilled water in there, and make sure it's not going past your marbles. And you still want water below it. Okay. Same concept as the tub, but you're using the marbles as your rack. And see how they loosened up a little bit? And just take them, shove them in here, being gentle. Actually, let me turn these around. Put these a little different. Set them in there like that. Put the lid on it and pretty much set it and forget it. Leave it there for 24 hours. And when you come back to it, you'll have, you gotta leave. See how it's starting to loosen up already, but it's still weak. Okay. Also keep in mind, if you overcase this, it's going to be fragile. It's going to tear easy. So this method is like for the person that doesn't wrap often. Okay. So if you, let's say you bunch 10 cigars today, and then you leave these in there for 24 hours, and you check them, and then when they're ready, then you can wrap them. Okay. But you don't want to leave them in here too long. I'd say no more than 2 days, no longer than 48 hours, because then it starts to suck up too much moisture. I mean, it looks nice. It's got a really leathery look, but it's too wet, too moist. So it's not good. But we'll set this over here. And then that's that. That's on your small batch for bunching at home. Like these have been in the bag for just a few minutes. Okay. Come back and see how they're not soaking wet anymore. They're starting to absorb it. Okay. So now you can start opening it. Yeah, it's still got a little bit, but with all these touching together, you want to keep them like that. Then by tomorrow they're going to be good. So what we'll do is I'm going to leave these in here, and then we're going to take them out tomorrow. Okay, we're going to check them, and what I'm doing, I'm just kind of locking the moisture in there, getting the air out. So lock that up. And that is how I do small batch casing for binder and wrapper. Let's take a quick peek at this binder here that we put in here. It's loosening up, but it still needs to. Okay. And if you feel like you have too much water on them, then you take your towel and just kind of pat them a little bit. If you feel like you did too much. Okay. But, I mean, been doing this for a while and really hasn't hurt anything. But you got to use it, okay? Can't let it sit too long, because then it, too much moisture sitting too long, locking it in a bag, it's gonna start forming mold, and you don't want that either. So, but I mean, usually if you're gonna overwater, you'll mostly overwater on the tips. So, but I mean, other than that, we're pretty good. Take these guys, put them more in the middle. But yeah, these binder will be ready to go tomorrow. See how it's still kind of crispy, but see how it's starting to loosen up. I like these thinner ones. They'll be cased pretty quick. The thicker ones take a little bit longer. But listen, this is the edge here. Still a little crispy on the edges. This side's good. But let me find another one. You hear a little crunchiness. See, so this, it takes a little bit to case. Yeah, I'll take this back, put it back in the bag. I mean, like I said, there's other methods too. This is my method. I'm not saying it's the best method. I'm not saying I do the right thing. I'm telling you this is what works for me. So, I mean, disclaimers, I'm not responsible for what happens to your tobacco. Okay? This is the way that I learned. This way it's been working for me. So, we'll put these away and we'll come back. I'll open them up tomorrow and we'll see what it looks like. All right? Have a good one.